Y News. Tropical depression doming to intensify into a storm by Friday as it continues to move over bodies of water. Government workers seek to hike their monthly minimum pay to 16,000 pesos. And Labor Department invites all fresh graduates and job seekers to visit their job and business fair sites across the country on June 12. Y News begins now.
From the UNTV News and Rescue Command Center in Quezon City, this is Y News.
Good evening. The Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, assures that some of the flood control projects in Metro Manila are now ready for the onset of the rainy season. But the agency still appeals to the public to avoid littering. John Nano explains why.
Flood and heavy traffic have been the normal scene on major areas of Metro Manila every rainy season. To address this and ease the burden of the commuting public, the government has begun implementing projects on flood control. Department of Public Works and Highways National Capital Region Director Melvin Navarro says the government has already completed some of these projects. These include the Maysilo Drainage System in Mandaluyong City, Blumentritt Flood Interceptor, and the newest drainage project in Padre Burgos in Manila.
Makikita natin ngayon how effective it is para dito sa this coming rainy season. Expectedly, dapat wala na tayong mararanasan sana ang baha ngayon na grabe dito sa tapat ng Manila City Hall.
Although the drainage project in España has yet to be completed, the DPWH says it could still help lower flood levels.
Sa ngayon, dahil meron na tayong mga nagawang mga drainage na maghatak ng tubig diyan. So yung receding time ng mga tubig baha o yung pagbaba ng tubig baha mas mabilis na ngayon.
The DPWH is still experiencing problem on clogged pumping stations, which is caused by littered trash. Up to 3 dump trucks of trash are collected daily at pumping stations.
Panawagan sana na sa lahat na huwag magtapon ng basura sa ating mga daanan ng tubig, no? Para hindi ito makakasira sa ating mga pumps.
John Nano, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Meanwhile, government workers are asking for an increase in their monthly minimum wage to 16,000 pesos. Ray Pelayo tells us why.
Surging prices of commodities are affecting almost everyone, including government workers. And to cope with this, some public employees are calling on the government to increase their monthly minimum wage. Ferdinand Gaite of Government Workers Group Confederation for Unity, Recognition and Advancement of Government Employees, or COURAGE, says they are seeking to add more than 5,000 pesos in their current salary grade 1 of 10,510 pesos only.
Ito biro namin, Our take-home pay is not even enough to take us home.
Gaite says workers in local government units are even earning less than that. Public employees in 6th-class municipalities, he says, are in fact getting a measly monthly income of 6,831 pesos.
Ang pinapangarap na lang ng mga maliliit na manggagawa, makakain ng 3 beses lang araw.
Courage hopes that if the government can double the salary of soldiers and cops, it can also do the same for them. Some government workers say they are not against the salary increase of the uniformed personnel but argue that civilian ones also have their own needs.
Tao rin naman kami. Yung kanilang pangailangan, ipangailangan din namin.
Economic Development Undersecretary Rose Edilon, meanwhile, says they are expecting prices to become stable next month as the imported rise of NFA arrives. Edilon also notes of the possible decrease in the oil price as oil-producing countries meet this month.
Ang tansya talaga namin is itong latter half will actually be mas magno-normalize na yung ating sitwasyon ng mga presyo-presyo.
She says around 10 million poor Filipinos could also receive the subsidies from the government under the train law in September. Ray Pelayo, UNTV, News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Civil society groups are urging the Congress anew to immediately pass the proposed Right to Adequate Food Framework, also known as the Zero Hunger Bill. Rosalie Cos tells us why.
Some non-governmental organizations continue to appeal for the immediate passage of the proposal known as the Zero Hunger Bill. This aims to address the country's problem on hunger in a span of 10 years.
That will respond and guarantee the right to adequate food of all Filipinos.
The bill is still pending in the Senate committee, while the lower house has approved it in the second and final reading. The Commission on Human Rights, or CHR, supports this call.
There would be remedies how to go about in demanding that these rights will be fulfilled by government.
The chairperson of the Consultative Committee on Charter Change and former Chief Justice Renato Puno also reiterates that it is important for the rights to education, health, and housing to be included in the new Bill of Rights. When this happens, the public can demand the government for services to ensure adequate food for every Filipino as part of the right to health.
May duty naman yung Kongreso doon, dapat magkaroon sila ng mga batas para sa tinatawag nating progressive realization itong mga karapatan na ito.
Once this bill gets approved, this might resolve the daily worry of some Filipinos like Luz de los Reyes, who struggles to feed her 4 children with the measly income of her husband. She says that most of the time, they eat only twice in a day and always have egg and salted fish for dinner.
Pinagkakasya na namin. Kasi kung di mo pagkasyahin, walang mangyayari.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Labor Department is inviting all fresh graduates and job seekers to visit their job and business fair sites across the country on June 12. Aiko Miguel tells us why.
The Department of Labor and Employment will launch a nationwide jobs fair as the Philippines marks the 120th anniversary of its independence on Tuesday, June 12. DOLE invites fresh graduates and job hunters to visit the Senior Citizens Garden in Rizal Park, Manila, and their other job and business fair sites in the country, as nearly 125,000 jobs will be offered. More than 60,000 local jobs are available, while 7,000 and more positions are waiting to be filled in the Philippine Armed Forces, Navy, and the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology. More than 53,000 overseas jobs will also be offered, including service workers, nurses, engineers, and sales personnel in countries like Qatar, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Malaysia, Japan, Oman, and New Zealand. DOLE also assures that participating firms will not offer contractual jobs as the government cracks down on companies engaging in labor-only contracting practices.
Po'y lahat ng mga employers na legitimate, they have not been part of the tukhang or whatever identification made by our inspectors. They are employers who have not been perceived to have violated the law.
DOLE also plans to continue holding job fairs to ease the Philippine unemployment rate, which is currently at 2.3 million.
Meron pong more than 100,000 na nagkakaroon po ng trabaho doon po sa mga job seekers na pumupunta po sa ating different job fair sites.
Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Department of Transportation opens a one-stop shop ahead of the implementation of the government's Public Utility Vehicles Modernization Program. Here's why from Monokson.
Jeepney operator Rosel Liave is slowly losing hope of acquiring a new unit to comply with the government's modernization program. She says the new model is too expensive and her loan application has been denied. She fears losing her livelihood soon when her old jeepney ends up in a junk shop.
Kagaya po namin, hindi po kami membro ng kooperatiba. Napakahirap sa amin para kumuha ng bagong unit ng sasakyan. Ang plano na lang po namin, kung matutuloy ang phase out po talaga, i-dispose na lang po namin ang mga sasakyan.
The likes of Rosel is what the Department of Transportation seeks to help as it opens a one-stop shop today. It features all concerned agencies, so applicants need not transfer from one place to another to process their documents, franchise, and other applications. They may also apply for a loan here to avail new jeepney units.
Yung mga gustong maging legal na kolorum, tutulong kami. As long as mag-comply sila sa omnibus franchising guidelines na nilabas namin last year, tutulong kami.
Jeepney operator like Rosana Brander is happy with this project as it helped her finally acquire a new passenger jeep.
Napakahirap sir kasi unang-una yung mga operator kasi ngayon, hindi sila nakakaipon ng pera. Ako operator din ako. Yung unit ko dahil luma na, hindi siya kumikita. Parang kulang pa sa maintenance. So kung hindi ka sasali sa kooperatiba, hindi ka makakaipon ng pera.
The one-stop shop is open on the following dates, June 6, 14, 22, and 29, and on July 6, 13, 20, and 27 from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The one-stop shop can be found at the 16th floor of the Columbia Tower building along Ortigas Avenue near the POEA office in EDSA. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Mandaluyong City.
On Y News tonight, President Rodrigo Duterte apologizes to actress Kris Aquino over social media post of Communications Assistant Secretary Mocha Uson. Labor Undersecretary Jacinto Paras files grave threat case against Senator Antonio Trillanes IV. And the local government of Anda in Pangasinan mulls declaring a state of calamity following a fish kill in the area. Good evening. President Rodrigo Duterte apologizes to actress Kris Aquino through Special Assistant to the President Christopher Bongo. This after Aquino accused Presidential Communications Assistant Secretary Mocha Uson of besmirching her parents' legacy just to defend the president from attacks on his latest behavior towards women. Aquino was incensed by Uson's social media post showing a video of her father, former Senator Benigno Ninoy Aquino Jr., receiving a kiss from two women before he was assassinated in August of 1983. Go says Uson agreed to apologize to Aquino to end the issue.
We conveyed our apologies for the incident concerning her and Mocha. We understand the emotions of both sides since both leaders, I'm referring to President Duterte and former Senator Benigno Aquino, are well respected and loved. Nag-usap kami ni Mocha kanina at nagkasundo na natapusin na ang isyong ito.
Labor Undersecretary Jacinto Paras files grave threat case against Senator Antonio Trillanes IV. Nel Maribuhok tells us why.
Labor Undersecretary Jacinto Jing Paras files a 6-page complaint before the Pasay City Prosecutor's Office against Senator Antonio Trillanes. He accuses the lawmaker of violating the Article 282 of the revised penal code for making grave threats against him when their paths crossed at the Senate Session Hall on May 29th.
In a form of parang dinuduro niya ako or dinuduro niya ako at sabi niya yayariin kita. Ang lakas ng loob mo. Yung presidente mo, matatapos din yan at yayariin kita.
Paras believes the senator's threats are due to the inciting to sedition charges he filed against Trillanes last year over his remark in a privileged speech calling on military men to shoot President Rodrigo Duterte for his unexplained wealth. Trillanes, however, belies the accusation and even mocked Paras as having zero credibility of a cellphone thief. This remark was an apparent reference to Anakbayan Representative Tom Villarin's allegation that Paras stole his mobile phone at a congressional hearing last March.
Walang katotohanan yan. Si Jing Paras ay isang magnanakaw ng cellphone, so walang credibility yan. Ganun pa man, harapin ko yan.
Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
The local government of Anda, Pangasinan is studying the possibility of declaring a state of calamity following a fish kill in the area. The local government also plans to temporarily halt the operation of fish pens in 3 barangays. Tell us why, Gladys Tuabi.
The fish kill that struck the town of Anda, Pangasinan from May 29 to June 1 cost more than 86 million pesos in profit losses. The worst hit is the Barangay Siape, where 43 million peso worth of milkfish died. Next is Barangay Alwag that lost over 34 million peso worth of fish, and Malong Town that incurred more than 8 million peso loss. With this, the local government is studying the possibility of declaring a state of calamity so it could use the 15% calamity fund to help affected fishermen.
Ang rekomendasyon ng council ay i-request na ideklara na state of calamity at pangalawa ay yung magkaroon ng moratorium on fish pin at saka fish cage operation.
Local officials are also determining the aid that the government could give to those affected by the fish kill.
Dahil ang masakit na katotohanan ay hindi naman ata registered lahat ng mga workers nila. Pero andyan na talaga kaya tinamaan sila. Iniisip ng LGU na bigyan sila ng mga assistance in terms of alternative livelihood program.
Local authorities are also planning to order a halt in the operations of fish pens in 3 barangays to pave way for a rehabilitation work. Gladys Tuabi, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Some students and teachers in Marawi City are having difficulty holding classes in temporary learning spaces. Rosalie Cos explains why.
Unlike other students outside of Marawi City, students in the war-torn area are holding classes in temporary learning spaces instead of regular classrooms. These are the makeshift classrooms built by the Department of Education for the evacuees of Barangay Sagong Songan. These are only divided by plywoods, which is why students can hear the noise from each other's room. Its floor is also not cemented, adding to the burden of children when it rains. It also lacks chairs since the available ones have yet to be picked up from the areas most affected by last year's war.
Mas masaya doon kapag kasama mo yung mga kilala mo dito, hindi ko na alam kung sino ang maging kaibigan ko. Sana po hindi po nasira ang Marawi.
Even teachers are having difficulty going to temporary learning centers to teach the displaced students.
Naninibago kami kasi yung distance mas malayo na. And then wala ding mga city limit dito or kung pwedeng pumunta sa town. So malaki din yung pamasahe namin.
Figures from the Department of Education show that 30,000 students have been affected by the clashes in the city. More than 1,000 of them are having classes in temporary classrooms, while others transferred to other schools outside of Marawi City. Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Thousands of Filipino inmates are given new hope for a better future under the program of the Department of Education. May Bermudez tells us why.
Around 15,000 persons deprived of liberty or prisoners across the country enroll under the alternative learning system of the Department of Education this year. This comprehensive program seeks to help in the rehabilitation of prisoners so they could find jobs and have a better future once they are released from prison. More than 5,000 registered for elementary, while almost 10,000 are set to enter secondary. Among the enrollees are 71-year-old Joel and Box 64, who were both detained in Manila City Jail because of drug-related cases. Joel shares he has 7 children and 24 grandchildren and has dreams of supporting them even if he's serving time.
Sana nga, kung gusto, kung meron ma-apply, mag-apply ako kahit mga senior citizen. Apply ako.
Box meanwhile hopes he could finish his course to become a welder someday.
Hindi ko na po inaasahan na magiging blessing to. Kasi parang naging, naging para meron po akong pagkaabalahan pag nandito ako sa kulungan.
There are no age requirements and all detainees are encouraged to enroll as long as there is still no final court ruling in their respective cases. It's not the end yet for the likes of Box and Joel, who believe that education is the key to success in their lives. May Bermudez, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Album recording for the grand finalists of A Song of Praise or ASOP Songwriting Competition gets an early start with some entries seen to make a hit. Leslie Ongbowen tells us why.
7 entries have secured a spot in the grand finals of this year's A Song of Praise or ASOP Songwriting Competition. These are 1 Milyong Pasasalamat, Binago Mo Ako, Magpatuloy sa Mabuting Paggawa, Huwag Kang Bibitiw, God Is With Us, Salamat Panginoon, and Pagbabalik. More songs will be chosen within the next months to complete the 12 entries. Taking advantage of the remaining time before the awaited finals night, ASO President Judge Doc Monde Rosario prepares for the recording of songs he sees will make a hit.
Yung mga entries ngayon, may mga very commercial eh. Yung mga tema nila at saka yung forma ng kanta.
Doc Mon also advises grand finalists, especially amateur composers, to continue writing songs.
Dito dulo ng kanilang biyahe, ito'y simula pa lang. Pero as long as alam mo kung saan ka papunta, hindi ka maliligaw at hindi ka mawawala.
Composers, meanwhile, are grateful for all the lessons they learned from the ASOP experience.
Dahil nga sobrang ang daming nanonood ng ASOP, ang daming tuto. Alam gumagaling yung mga songwriter. Kaya mahirap mapagsabay.
Natutunan ko dun sa competition is yung lahat everyday is a learning process bilang songwriter. Hindi ka pa timitigil na matuto.
Sa mga ganitong aspiring songwriters kasi isa sa pinaka pangarap talaga namin yung mai-record yung song. Mayroon ka may iwan man lang pagdating ng araw.
Leslie Longbowen, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Senate Sentinels is looking to share the top spot with PNP responders as it faces the Ombudsman graft busters this weekend. Here's why from Bernard Dadis.
Senate Sentinels vows to keep lead along with the PNP responders in the ongoing UNTV Cup off-season executive face-off elimination rounds. Senate now holds the second spot with 3-0 win-loss record, while responders top the standings with 4 wins. Sentinels eyes to score their 4th straight victory by clobbering Ombudsman Graftbusters this Sunday's first game, 2 p.m. at the Pasig City Sports Center. Its head coach Mike Fermin vows to ramp up defense play after eking out a 79-77 win over the defending Armed Forces of the Philippines Cavaliers last May 27.
Prepare lang kami uli. Marami kailangang ayusin. We need to view the tape and then kailangang ayusin yung mga lapses. Ang daming lapses, especially sa defensive side. Ang dami namin lapses.
The Ombudsman, meanwhile, is determined to score another win to climb up from its top 4 ranking, next to judiciary matches, which will serve as their ticket to playoffs.
Like we did sa mga previous game namin, kung ano yung mga tendency ng kalaban namin, kung paano namin i-counter, offense nila, defense nila, saka isang talaga yung work ko talaga lalo right now, is yung stamina ulit namin. Dahil nakita ko yun lang eh.
Of the 8 executive teams, only 4 will advance to the playoffs after eliminating those in the 5th to 8th ranks. Bernard Dadis, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Next on Y News. An analyst believes the upcoming Trump-Kim summit may produce a peace declaration, but with a cost.
Meanwhile, government workers are seeking to increase their monthly minimum wage to 16,000 pesos. Ferdinand Gaite of Confederation for Unity, Recognition and Advancement of Government Employees, or COURAGE, says public workers only earn over 10,000 pesos monthly, which barely covers their needs amid surging commodity prices. The group hopes that if the government can double the salary of the uniformed personnel, it can also do the same for them.
Ang pinapangarap na lang ng mga maliliit na manggagawa, makakain ng 3 beses lang araw.
Economic Development Undersecretary Rose Edilion meanwhile says they are expecting prices to become stable next month as the imported rice by NFA arrives. She says around 10 million poor Filipinos could also receive the subsidies from the government under the train law in September. A nationwide jobs fair is set to be launched by the Labor Department as the country marks the 120th anniversary of its independence on Tuesday, June 12. Fresh graduates and job hunters may visit the Senior Citizens Garden in Rizal Park, Manila, and their other job and business fair sites to apply for nearly 125,000 local and overseas jobs. Dole also assures that participating firms will not offer contractual jobs as the government cracks down on companies engaging in labor-only contracting practices.
Po yung lahat ng mga employers na legitimate, they have not been part of the tukang or whatever identification made by our inspectors. They are employers who have not been perceived to have violated the law.
Presidential Communications Assistant Secretary Mocha Uson remains defiant in saying sorry to Kris Aquino. In a 20-second video uploaded on Facebook in response to Aquino's rant, Uson tells Kris that the issue is not about her. Aquino took offense at Uson's post on former Senator Benigno Ninoy Aquino being kissed by 2 women on the last flight he took before getting killed in Manila in 1983. Uson also says in a later post that she declines to apologize for the truth.
Ito po ang aking response sa live video ni Miss Kris Aquino. This is not about Kris Aquino. Tungkol ito sa paglagay ng malisya sa isang halik. Itinumbas lang sa gawain ng ibang leader tulad ng tatay niya.
In response, Aquino says she constantly tried to reach out to Uson to fix the issue. She also promises to end the spat by saying that Uson is right in saying this is not about her and that this is a reminder that Filipinos still love and respect Cory and Ninoy Aquino. President Rodrigo Duterte has already apologized to Aquino through Special Assistant to the President, Christopher Bongo. Duterte had drawn criticisms for the kiss that happened on stage after he addressed Filipinos in Seoul, South Korea. Labor Undersecretary Jacinto Paras files a grave threat case against Senator Antonio Trillanes IV. In his 6-page complaint filed before the Pasay City Prosecutor's Office, Paras accuses the lawmaker of violating the Article 282 of the revised penal code for making grave threats against him when their paths crossed at the Senate Session Hall on May 29th. Paras believes the senator's threats are due to the inciting to sedition charges he filed against Trillanes last year over his remark in a privileged speech calling on military men to shoot President Rodrigo Duterte for his unexplained wealth. Trillanes, however, belies the accusation.
In a form of parang dinuduro niya ako at sabi niya yayariin kita. Ang lakas ng loob mo. Yung presidente mo, matatapos din yan. At yayariin kita.
Walang katotohanan yan. Si Jean Paras ay isang magnanakaw ng cellphone, so walang credibility yan. Ganun pa man, harapin ko yan.
In other news, the government of Pangasinan mulls declaring a state of calamity after 3 of its areas were heavily hit with fish kill, incurring more than 86 million pesos in profit losses. This is to expedite the release of calamity funds to help affected fishermen. Local authorities are also planning to order a halt in operations of fish pens in 3 barangays to pave way for rehabilitation work.
Dahil ang masakit na katotohanan ay hindi naman ata registered lahat ng mga workers nila Pero andyan na talaga, kaya tinamaan sila. Iniisip ng LGU na bigyan sila ng mga assistance in terms of alternative livelihood program.
And for the news abroad, here's Noel Poliarco from Toronto, Canada. Noel?
Good evening, Will. An analyst believes the upcoming Trump-Kim summit may produce a peace declaration, but with a cost. Eric Ferrer tells us why.
The White House has already announced the venue and schedule for the upcoming summit between U.S. President Donald Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. The summit will be at the Sentosa Island Hotel and will begin in the morning of June 12. Many are hopeful the summit will bring peace in the Korean peninsula, but some political watchers are doubtful. The two Koreas are now discussing a peace deal that could officially end the state of war that has technically lasted since the Korean War ended with an armistice but no treaty. South Korea and a US-led UN force are technically still at war with North Korea. Analysts said the idea of an official peace deal to change that is neither new nor something that can be resolved in a single inter-Korean summit. What exactly might replace the armistice has been another point of doubt, and neither South Korea nor US officials have confirmed what a new agreement would look like.
There might be some kind of a broad document signed in Singapore, we don't know yet, that would mark, at least on paper, the formal end of the Korean War, the formal end of hostilities on the Korean Peninsula.
At the time of the 1953 armistice, South Korean leaders opposed the idea of a truce that left the peninsula divided and were not signatories to the armistice. North Korea has previously maintained that it would only negotiate a peace treaty with the United States. Pyongyang and Seoul have seriously discussed the idea before.
We've been in situations like this before, where the North and South have made momentary accommodation with one another. Right now, the stakes are much higher. Unless and until those issues can be meaningfully addressed, we are not in we may be in a cessation of hostilities, but the possibility of war would be ever present.
If Trump and Kim summit next week produces a peace declaration, formally ending the Korean War as he has suggested, it could give the US president a big headline-grabbing moment. But analysts say the public relations value of such a historic event could quickly fade if Trump fails.
They believe they've got a trump card here, no pun intended. And on that basis, they are going to see what they can milk the United States and others for over a period of time. That to me looks like a script very, very much that was followed in the past. It ended in failure on multiple occasions, and President Trump insisted when this became an issue very, very early in his presidency, we're not going down that same path again. Well, he's going down that same path again.
Eric Ferrer, UNTV News and Rescue, South Korea.
A California mayor is planning to provide a no-strings guaranteed basic income for his residents. Nomer Peñaranda tells us why.
27-year-old Stockton, California Mayor Michael Tubbs has a radical plan to combat poverty in his cash-strapped city. A no-strings-attached guaranteed basic income for residents of $500 a month. Starting in early 2019, Tubbs plans to provide the monthly stipend to a select group of residents as part of a privately funded 18-month experiment to assess how people use the money.
And then maybe in 2 or 3 years, we can have a much more informed discussion about kind of the social safety net, the income floor people deserve, and the best way to do it, because we'll have more data and research.
The idea of governments providing a universal basic income to their citizens has been gaining traction globally. The Finnish government is running a 2-year trial to provide 2,000 unemployed people with monthly payments of approximately $660. In Alaska, each resident receives an annual dividend check from oil revenues from the Alaska Permanent Fund, which Tubbs said is a model for his approach. The issue of economic empowerment is a personal one for Tubbs. growing up in Stockton, where 1 in 4 residents live in poverty. His family relied on government assistance to meet their basic needs.
My mom was on welfare for the first 5-6 years of my life, and you get food stamps, but that's not cash, and maybe food's not the biggest need.
Tubbs said the criteria for the participation in the experiment have not yet been decided on, but he's already been receiving letters and emails from residents asking to be considered. However, the scheme is not without its detractors. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development argues that providing an unconditional basic income to everyone of working age would do little to combat poverty if not funded by extra taxes. Critics also say it would encourage people not to look for work. Nomar Peñaranda, UNTV News and Rescue, USA.
United Kingdom reigns supreme in the World Custard Pie Championship, while scientists are feeling stumped over a mystery dinosaur fossil sold at a Paris auction. Leslie Longbowen explains why.
British team Pie Face won the 51st World Custard Pie Championship, beating a sushi team from Japan. The local winners from the host village Cox Heath beat 31 other teams from all over the UK, including 3 from Japan. Other teams included members dressed as the Minions, the Spice Girls, and even shower curtains. Watched by large crowds, over 2,000 pies were thrown for fun by the competitors. It's said the event raises funds for a number of local causes and has done since it began in 1967. A landscape by Vincent van Gogh, the first work by the artist to be auctioned in France in more than 20 years, fetched $8.27 million at a sale on Monday. Auctioneer Francis Briest said the prize was boosted by the fact that most of the Dutch Impressionists' works are now in museums, with an average only 2 or 3 works appearing on the international market each year. The oil on paper works spent 8 years on display in the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam before being sold by its private owner. The fossilized skeleton of an unidentified type of dinosaur was auctioned for more than $2.34 million in Paris on the Eiffel Tower. The buyer is a French private individual who has promised the mystery dinosaur fossil will still be visible by the public. Almost 9 meters long, the skeleton is unusually complete at almost 70% whole. It is believed to be from the carnivorous theropod group of dinosaurs, which had hollow bones and 3-toed feet. But beyond that, scientists are still stumped and have spotted differences with known species such as more teeth and a more substantial pelvis. It was found at a site on the Morrison Formation in Wyoming in the United States in 2013 and belongs to an unnamed British businessman. Leslie Longbowen, UNTV News and Rescue.
Those are the reasons behind the news, June 6, 2018. I am William Thio, and because we need to know, we will always ask why. Thank you for watching Why News.